Hello, good day. Welcome to our new episode of Math Tutorial. This is your teacher, this time Sir Ran. I'd like to invite you to learn our topic of today, laws of proportion. In geometry, proportions are very useful in solving problems involving lengths of segments and triangle similarity. It is often necessary to rewrite a proportion into its equivalent form. This can be done by using the laws of proportion. So we will take the different laws of proportion one by one. Let me introduce you the first one. The first one is the so-called fundamental law of proportion, since it's the usual law that is introduced to us by our teacher to check whether a given two ratios are equal or is a proportion. So here it's called a means extremes product law of proportion. In a proportion, the product of the means equals the product of the extremes. It says here that if A is to B as C is to D, then A times D is equal to B times C, where B is not equal to 0. Or just, yeah, if you apply it, then you're basic, you are saying cross multiplication, but that's the law actually that we apply. Example, find the value of x in the proportion 4 is to x as 2 is to 6. All you need is to multiply your means and extremes. So multiplying your means, you have x times 2, that's 2x, and multiplying your extremes 4 and 6, so you have 2x is equal to 24. To find x, you have to divide both by 2. So 2x equals 24 would have become x is equal to 12. So therefore, your x is 12. Now let me introduce to you the second law of proportion. This is called a means switch extremes law of proportion. Here, interchanging the means or interchanging the extremes of a proportion results in an equivalent proportion. Okay, an equivalent proportion. If A is to B as C is to D, then A is to C as B is to D, and D is to B as C is to A. As you notice, interchanging your means, B and C would have become C and B, right? And interchanging your extremes, A and D, would have become D and A. So if you see and if you notice proportions like this, that means they are just equivalent. Where here, A, B, and C, including D, are non-zero real numbers. So let's take an example. Which of the following proportions is or are equivalent to the proportion 3x is to 1 as y is to 2? Alright, again 3x is to 1 as y is to 2. Now here, as we can see, only letter A and letter D are equivalent to the given proportion. Why? Letter A, as highlighted, y and 1. These are actually the means. We just interchanged them. Alright, 1 becomes y and y becomes 1. So simply interchanging y and 1, which are the means actually. So therefore A is an equivalent proportion to the given proportion 3x is to 1 as y is to 2. Letter D as well is equivalent to the given. Why? This is actually just, interchanging the extremes. Your 3x becomes 2, your 2 becomes 3x. And so you can conclude that this letter D given is an equivalent proportion to the given above. So what about B and C? They are not. If you are going to scrutinize it, it does not justify or satisfies the law. The means switch extremes or the means extreme switch, or just as you can have it like switching the means and switching the extremes. Okay, let me introduce you the third law of proportion. It's called the inverse both sides law of proportion. You will get the inverse both sides. So here, if the terms of the ratios of a proportion are inverted, the result is an equivalent proportion. If A is to B as C is to D, then B is to A as D is to C, where A, B, C, and D are non-zero real numbers. Again, as you can see, you simply invert both sides. Kaya it says inverse both sides law of proportion. So A over B becomes B over A, and C over D becomes D over C. Let's check this out in this example. Oh, you are told to show. So you have to show that if A is to B as C is to D, then B is to A as D is to C. Now the given, you see, it's A over B equals C over D, or we read it as a proportion A is to B as C is to D. That's the given. Interchanging the means, you can have A over C or A is to C as B is to D. That's following the second law of proportion. Switching the means, right? Switching the means, law of proportion. And then you can also say D over B equals C over A. Alright, following the second law of proportion, we are interchanging the extremes A and D becomes D and A here. Okay, so you're using the previous law to prove a present law. Okay, so then you can write it D is to C as B is to A. It's actually the converse of the first law. What is the first law? It's the means and extremes product, right? That's the first law. So you can just have the converse. Then, yeah, symmetrically, you can write D over C equals B over A, or D is to C as B is to A as B is to A, B is to A as D is to C. Using symmetric property, then you were able to show that A is to B as C is to D, then B is to A as D is to C. Okay, just a little proof that that's the our law is true. Now, let me introduce to you the fourth law. It's called denominator addition law of proportion. It's obvious. There's the word denominator, so you're gonna add the denominator. If A over B equals C over D, or proportion A is to B as C is to D, then A plus B is to B as C plus D is to D, or A plus B over B equals C plus D over D. You simply add the denominator to its numerator. A over B, it has numerator A, you add the B. C over D, numerator is C, you add the D, where B is not equal to 0 and D must not also be equal to 0. Now let's take an example so we will understand further. Use the fourth law of proportion to solve for x in the proportion 5 is to 4 as 3 is to x. Following the instruction to solve it using fourth law, the solution would be 5 is to 4 as 3 is to x. You do the addition of denominators, so you will have 5 plus 4 is to 4 as 3 plus x is to x. And then applying your first law of proportion, you multiply the means and the extremes. You have x times 5 times 4, 5 plus 4 equals 4 times 3 plus x. After that, you can do the distribution. Okay, you can have here 5x plus 4 equals 12 plus 4x. You simplify that, you have 9x equals 12 plus 4x. So, if you are going to bring 4x the other side, meaning you're applying APE or SPE, subtraction property of equality. So it becomes 9x minus 4x equals 12. And so we have now 5x equals 12. So dividing both by 5, you have x is equal to 12 over 5. So you were able to solve for x. Now we will continue with the number 5 law. It's called denominator subtraction law of proportions. It's just similar to the fourth law. Here we're just going to subtract instead of adding the the denominator in the numerator. So if A is to B as C is to D, then A minus B is to B, and C minus D is to D. Okay, where B is not equal to 0 and D also is not equal to 0. Now, let's take this example. Find the ratio of x to y if x plus y is to x minus y as 3 is to 2. So better write it in fraction form so you can see it. So you have x plus y is to x minus y is equal to or as 3 is to 2. They are now equivalent form to the given there. That's just horizontally written. Now, our objective is to find the ratio of x is to y or x to y. Now, you can write using the fifth law, subtract the denominator. Now, x plus y minus x minus y, because we have to subtract the denominator from the numerator. And we have also 3 minus 2. Since the numerator is 3, you subtract the denominator. So following the fifth law of proportion. So you can simplify it, combining like terms. So you have 2y, x now becomes 0, over the x minus y equals 3 minus 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. Alright, so you have 1/2. So therefore, you can then multiply it using the first law. X minus y equals 4y, since x minus y times 1 is x minus y and 2y times 2 is 4y. Then you find x. You have to apply APE, addition property of equality, so you can bring y the other side. So x is equal to 5y, and then you divide both by y, so you can find the ratio of x to y. So x to y is already a ratio. X is to y, right? X is to y now is equal to 5 as you divide both sides by y. Therefore, you can write it as x is to y as 5 is to 1, since 5 is understood to have a denominator of 1, and that their equivalent form. Therefore, the ratio of x to y is 5 is to 1. I hope you understand. You can just review the video if you wish to understand further. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.